Hey guys, TrainerDC here, coming at you with another video. We've talked about a lot regarding Pokemon Legends ZA over the past few weeks, and I think we've pretty much covered everything from that trailer. There's really not much else to talk about regarding that until we get our next trailer, which hopefully is sometime in the not too distant future. But one thing from Pokemon Day that I did not talk about yet is Pokemon Champions. And Pokemon Champions, if you guys don't know, it's a new battle simulator that's going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch and iOS and Android at some point in the future. One thing interesting about that announcement is they did not give us any sort of release window or release year for the game. They just said it's now in development, so I kind of question how far off this game is from actually releasing. This is something that's going to be massive for the franchise going forward, and I wanted to take a moment to discuss that in today's video as to why this is something that's so huge and why more people should be talking about it. So first and foremost, Pokemon Champions, you might be thinking to yourself, TrainerDC, who cares? It's your Pokemon Battle Revolution, it's your Pokemon Stadiums, they're just a side game that you can play, and that's pretty much it. Like, why does it really matter all that much? And I think the reason why this is different than Pokemon Stadium or Battle Revolution is because I think it's pretty clear, just based on, reading the tea leaves and whatnot, this game is going to replace the VGC. This is going to become the home of the VGC from now on. If you guys don't know, the Video Game Championship series always happens within the main series of games, right? Every generation is where the VGC is home to. So for example, right now the VGC is in Scarlet and Violet. Prior to this, it was in Sword and Shield. Prior to that, it was in Sun and Moon. Prior to that, it was in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Prior to that, X and Y, so on and so on. It's always taking place in your main series of games from that generation. I think that going forward, Pokemon Champions is going to become the new home of the VGC. And the reason for that is twofold. Number one, I think that Game Freak wants to start to experiment a bit more with the Pokemon franchise. Pokemon Legends has become a series of games where they've experimented more with what they can do with Pokemon, and I think that they've begun to realize that. On Pokemon Day, the president of the Pokemon company, Ishihara, released a statement saying that in order for them to be around for their 50th and 100th year anniversary, they need to start to evolve, and as we saw with the ZA gameplay, they're evolving the franchise. I'm not saying that turn-based battles are going to be gone. I think turn-based battles are always going to have a place within Pokemon, but I think it's very clear that they're keeping Champions as their turn-based home, their turn-based hub, if you will, and they're going to move the VGC to that, so that allows them to then experiment more and try new ideas within their main series of games. It's very interesting because I made a video recently discussing how I'm shocked Gen 10 isn't coming this year, because they rely very heavily on a new generation coming out to kind of run their whole company, right? It affects the TCG, it affects the VGC, it affects the anime, it affects their merchandise. A lot of their sales rely heavily on when a new game comes out. Like it or not, but their game sales are a very small portion of their revenue. They make much more money on their merchandise and trading card sales than they do their video game sales. The video games are kind of the engine that make the machine go, right? They are the main cog to the machine that makes everything else run. So I'm very surprised they're breaking that 3-year cycle, because now that's kind of throwing a monkey wrench in their plans. Well, if we take a step back and look at what they're actually doing here, I mentioned this in a recent video. The TCG is coming to an end. The Scarlet and Violet trading card game is ending. That generation is ending in favor of the new Mega Evolution series that's going to be our Legends ZA series of the TCG. So they are starting a new mini generation of the TCG. Given that we're not getting Gen 10 this year, this is going to be like our gap year, so to speak, and this year is going to be taken up by that, and that's going to become the new meta for the TCG. Mega Evolutions are in, Terras are going to be out, then next year Gen 10 will take over, right? If we look at what's happening right now, the VGC always ends after its 3-year cycle, right? It's going to be wrapping up most likely with this season, and I would argue that the next year of the VGC is going to be moved to Pokemon Champions. They really did not show off much of Pokemon Champions, which is why I question how much of this game is actually done, but to be fair, it doesn't seem like it's going to take them that long to work on, because it looks very similar to the battles that we saw in Sword and Shield, just from a visual standpoint. I don't think this game's going to take that long to develop, and I think it's going to be ready for the next season, the next year of the VGC, and they're going to move the Video Game Championship series to Pokemon Champions from now on. And the reason for this is, again, as I said before, the 3-year cycle for the VGC is up. They have nothing really left to implement to the VGC because Gen 10 is supposed to take over, and that's supposed to become the new home to it, but that's not happening this year. So Pokemon Champions is going to become the new home for the VGC, and what they are going to do, as we saw in the trailer, you can use Terrestrial Pokemon and you can use Mega Mega Pokemon at the same time. I think what's going to happen is, again, we're going to have like a 1-year gap year in the VGC, just like the TCG, and essentially all the new Pokemon, all of the new Megas, all of the new forms, whatever is introduced in Legends ZA is going to be introduced into the meta of the VGC for 2026, and that's going to be within Pokemon Champions. I think Pokemon Champions is really a huge turning point for the franchise that really is kind of going under the radar right now, because at first glance it just looks like a battle simulator, right? But why are you making a battle simulator on the same platform that the games are on? Because the whole point of the prior battle simulators, like for Stadium and like for Battle Revolution, you could play your portable games on your home console, right? I had Battle Revolution as a kid. I still have the game now. You would connect your DS wirelessly to your Wii, and you could essentially battle on the big screen with your friends. I remember when I was a kid, my friends would come over, we'd connect our DSs to my Wii, and we would have our Pokemon battles on my TV through Battle Revolution. That was the whole point of it. Same thing goes for Stadium. But with this, with Pokemon Champions, what's the point of me having a battle within Champions when I can have a battle within Scarlet and Violet on the same platform? This is obviously something that's for future-proofing the franchise, not for something that's immediate. So I think this is going to become the new home of the VGC. I think it's pretty clear that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be, like I said, a huge turning point, because no longer will they have to rely on a 3-year cycle. They can do something like they're doing now. They can have it be that they're doing like a gap year, like a mini generation within a year for Pokemon Legends ZA. And they can stick to their 3-year cycles for their main generations, right? Scarlet and Violet lasted 3 years. Gen 10 can last 3 years, but then whatever the next game they come out with, whether that be a Black 3 and White 3, whether it be a new Legends game, or whether it be a Johto game, who knows? The contents of said game can be migrated into the VGC in a mini year season or even a 2-year season within Pokemon Champions. I think this is all massive for the franchise, and I think it's really going to change the way that the Pokemon Company and Game Freak go about their strategy in the future. And of course, time will tell with all of this. For now, all we know is that Pokemon Champions is coming, and it's coming at some point in the future, because they really didn't give us any sort of indication as to when exactly this game is coming. All they told us is, hey, there's a Pokemon Battle Simulator coming out on iOS, Android, and Switch at some point in the future, and we could presume it's coming to Switch 2 as well. But that's pretty much all we know for now. We're going to have to wait to hear more details on that, but I think this is a pretty huge turning point for the future of the franchise, and we'll have to wait and see how this all transpires over the next few years. But for now, this is really interesting. Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about all this. What do you guys think about Pokemon Champions? Do you agree with me that this is going to be a massive turning point for the franchise, or do you disagree with me and think this is something that's low-key and it's not going to be the new home of the VGC? If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to see more content like this from Trainer DC. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.